This evening on House and Home, a wonderful evening to you all, and many thanks for your company once again. Well, more and more people have resumed their usual weekly routines and are back into working mode this week. And for those of you who've planned to start prepping for school this week, good on you. Try not to leave things to the last minute. Speaking of which, here's Norman of PIMS talking on education solutions.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome once again to tonight's PIMS episode. It is that time of the year again. In 2 weeks' time, thousands of students across the country will go back to school, up one level in their education. Others, and the more fortunate ones, will be excitedly lining up for registration in new institutions. As we are all busy doing this, spare a thought for the 13,000 or so grade 12 school dropouts of 2013 who have missed out on selection out of a total of 18,000 plus students who sat for grade 12 exams at the end of 2013. These 13,000 plus students have no place in any of our 34 tertiary institutions, which combined have a maximum of 5,000 available places only. Mathematically, this puts the grade 12 dropout rate of 2013 at just over 70%, the majority, who cannot be accommodated in any of our tertiary institutions in 2014. This has been going on for years and continues to be a national tragedy, to say the least. The government and the country must not rest until this lopsided, unfair, and self-defeating system of education is addressed and fixed. These are the numbers, and no matter how hard we try, we cannot ignore them or run away from them. These numbers are telling us that the entire government tertiary education resources, capability, and capacity have been stretched to the limit to handle this massive and rapidly growing school dropout crisis. And the reality is, the government can only do so much. This means that more than ever, existing and new private institutions must step up in a big way to help the government deal with this problem. It is therefore in the interest of this country that these private institutions that are offering alternate but still relevant and appropriate education and training opportunities are supported, are strong, viable, and sustainable, as only then can they continue to provide this invaluable service. If we think the numbers are bad, we ain't seen nothing yet, as the saying goes. If the government's compulsory education policy goes into effect this year in 2014, we will be swamped and overwhelmed by the massive number of grade 12 dropouts by 2018, at least 100,000 of them by then. A truly mind-boggling, intimidating, and disturbing statistic. There is a saying that to be forewarned is to be forearmed. It means if you know in advance that some calamity, trouble, or adverse situation is going to happen, then you prepare yourself for it. You take preventative, safety, protective, and countermeasures so that when this adverse situation does arrive, you are prepared for it. You are able to manage, control, and even overcome it when it does come because you had the benefit of knowing in advance its occurrence. We must hope and trust that we will be ready when this looming school dropout catastrophe besets us in a few years' time. For the 13,000 plus grade 12 dropouts of 2013, I want to encourage you that you may be down but not out. Someone said that for the willing-hearted, for the never say die, life is like water. It is like a stream. If you block its flow or path, it may stop flowing temporarily, but sooner or later, it will find a way around the obstacle. You know, where there is a will, there is a way, as the saying goes. If a door shuts in your face, another will open up. The options that are available to school dropouts, such as grade 12 school dropouts, include, number 1, upgrading marks for continuing and further education or training. Number 2, enrolling in private institutions for continuing alternate education and training. Number 3, seek paid employment. Number 4, self-start business activities. Number 5, go back to the village. Number 6, stop nothing and be idle in town. Number 7, get married under difficult circumstances. These are the options. As the school dropouts of 2013 look and think about the list of options that I've just mentioned, you are now at the crossroads, so to speak. Whatever choice you make will be life-defining. It may determine forever what your life will turn out to be in future. I hope you make the right choice. In fact, I urge you to make the right choice for the sake and the sake of your family in years to come. If I am to give you any advice at all, please choose an option that will lead to a meaningful, valuable, worthwhile, and better life for you and your family in future. Yet again, I have to remind viewers about the second chance and alternative courses and education opportunities that we provide at PIMS and the new Norman C.K. Institute, NSI. Let us bring up the diagram. As we've been mentioning, students who complete grade 10 or 12 secondary studies at PIMS or other schools can transit directly to do tertiary level diploma courses of their choice at NSI. Currently, PIMS has centers in NCD, Ley, Madang, Wewak, Keviang, Manus, and Wabag. Other PIMS centers in consideration for opening in 2014 include Rabaul, Arawa, Wakunai, and Panguna. The usual PIMS secondary level courses are number 1, grade 9 to 12 formal secondary, number 2, pre-11 secondary bridging course, number 3, pre-matriculation, number 4, adult matriculation, number 5, grade 12 upgrading, number 6, extra skills in business and computing, and number 7, correspondence studies. On the other hand, the NSI tertiary level diploma courses will be offered in selected centers of NCD, Ley, Madang, Keviang, and Wabag. The NSI diploma courses are pre-diploma bridging course, number 2, diploma in accounting, number 3, diploma in business management, number 4, diploma in human resource management, number 5, diploma in sales and marketing, number 6, diploma in computer science, and number 7, diploma in mathematics. As we are looking at the list of NSI diploma courses, let me repeat the following points. Number 1, all grade 10 applicants will need to do the 6 months pre-diploma bridging course before enrolling into the diploma program of their choice. Number 2, all diploma programs are 1-year courses except the diploma in computer science, which is a 2-year course. And number 3, acceptance into the diploma in computer science course will strictly require completion of major math and science in grade 12. And in the absence of this, students can do matriculation math and science at PIMS before reapplying for the diploma in computer science. The diploma in computer science is aimed at grade 12 leavers who have above average grades but cannot make it to established tertiary institution due to limited spaces. The program aims to enrich students with high analytic and problem-solving skills integrated with computer technology. And the fourth point, NSI diploma courses can also be done through distance or correspondence studies. For further information and application forms for both PIMS and NSI courses nationwide, please contact the following address on the screen. To finish up tonight's episode, and to students and viewers who are watching, not everybody can go to a tertiary institution or institution of higher learning. But whether one makes it to a tertiary institution or not, we all desire and aspire for success in whatever walk of life we may end up. I want to leave you with my definition of success. To me, success is not how much money you have in your bank account, how many cars or houses you have, or other material items. To me, success is having the ability to put food on the table each and every night for your kids and your family. That is why the options and the choices we make in life are so important. If the choices we make in life enables us to have the continuous ability to provide for the needs of our families, that's what success is. That is what meaning, value, and fulfillment in life is. Apart from our allegiance to God, our Creator and Maker, I think living up to our parental responsibilities and providing for the needs of our children and family must always be our first and foremost duty in life. Unfortunately, and as always, time has caught up with us once again. I'd like to thank you all for your attention tonight and in all the previous PIMS episodes. For students who are watching tonight, I hope the information and discussions that have been presented in tonight's episode will help you in making those good life-defining choices. Till we meet again in 2 weeks' time for another PIMS episode, have a very good night, and may I also say a good week too.
After the break, our friends from Origin make a comeback to the show, talking gas and how user-friendly it can be if you pay attention to detail and use it correctly. See you shortly. Welcome back. Now this segment is a segment that all families should pay close attention to. Quite a number of homes use gas and have found it more efficient for them as opposed to using electricity. And then there are others who are still very indecisive only because they don't know too much about gas and whether or not it's user-friendly. The fear factor of using gas plays heavily on the mind. Origin not only introduces you to gas but briefly talks on their campaign to educate the right and safe ways to connect and use gas within your homes.
Good evening, viewers. I am Henry Maipu, and thank you for joining us on the first of many episodes of Origin Guest Talk for this year. In this segment, we will be giving you an overview of the launching of the LP Gas Safety Campaign and the First Aid Blocks awareness messages. These safety messages include safety tips, connecting your gas safely, tips on efficient burning, safe storage, transporting your gas, lifting your gas safely, and basic maintenance and cleaning stoves at home. Basically, we want to educate our customers and bridge the fear factor that gas is dangerous. We believe this awareness will enhance safety culture at home.
Today is a very important event for us at Origin Energy. 2014, we've got some pretty ambitious goals in terms of growing our business, not only that, but more importantly, making gas easily accessible and affordable to more and more households in Papua New Guinea. So today is basically our launch of that journey, which is our plans which we have for 2014, to be able to not only grow our business, but make available gas to a lot more households in PNG. Origin has been in the energy business in PNG for over 40 years. A lot of you can relate to Boral Energy. We're no different to Boral Energy. We're actually Boral Energy. 14 years ago, Boral Energy renamed itself to Origin Energy. And so we're the same entity, we're no different. We are a leading energy company with presence in 7 major towns or 7 major markets, which is basically Port Moresby, Lae, Mount Hagen, Baroka, Kavieng, Awatau, and Rabaul. Origin PNG is actually part of Origin Holdings Limited, which is an Australian company which is the largest green energy provider to about 3 million people in Australia and also around the Pacific. So we're part of a bigger group. Our core business in PNG as an energy supplier is basically to supply and distribute liquefied petroleum gas, predominantly propane. And we do this through an extensive dealership and agent network around the country. And we have a total of about over 300 dealers and agents which on-sell our product on to consumers. We provide employment for about 120 people, so we're a medium business where most of you think about Origin, you think big, but no, we're actually a small to medium business. To support the demand for LP gas, we also sell a wide range of appliances. We both wholesale and also retail appliances to select markets. Like I said, 2014 we have some pretty ambitious plans, not only to expand our business, to suit market and current conditions, but we also want to participate quite actively in developing the energy industry in Papua New Guinea. And by doing that, we want to be able to provide access to more and more households in PNG, provide better access to energy because we believe it is a need in order to be able to develop our communities in the larger scope of things. Just to very quickly explain what LPG is, because a lot of people get confused with different gases. Everyone hears about LNG nowadays. LPG stands for liquefied petroleum gas. So it's actually a generic name for mixtures of gases known as propane and butane. So they're both hydrocarbon gases, and they're extracted during the refinery process of either crude oil and LNG. So it's a highly flammable gas, so it's not the same thing as LNG. LPG is a preferred energy source in a lot of countries around the world, in particular in a lot of developing countries in Asia and also in Africa. And the main advantage of LPG is that it's a cost-effective energy source to be able to distribute, because you can actually transport them and store them in what you see as cylinders, which a lot of you can relate to in your homes. As opposed to other gases where it needs to be reticulated, it's quite durable because you can store them in cylinders and easily distribute them. So it's a preferred energy source in a lot of developing countries, no different to Papua New Guinea. What we do at Origin, like I explained a little bit earlier, is our core business is to sell LP gas, but to be able to build the demand for LP gas and also support the sale of LP gas, we also sell a wide range of appliances. So we're in a lot of product segments. In case you're wondering what LP gas can be used for apart from cooking, a lot of people think gas is only used for cooking. That's not true. You'll find out today that LP gas can be used for other applications such as power generation, in the transportation sector also to power vehicles, otherwise known in developing countries as oil gas, hot water systems. It can be used in industrial applications. Any application that requires heating, LP gas can be used as an energy source, including waste management, including the manufacturing sector as well. So it's an alternative energy source to other energy sources that you already know. The other important thing also to note is a lot of our appliances are actually AGA rated, or what we support is actually to very high standards and to Australian Gas Association rated standards. So now you're wondering why the safety campaign? In support of our strategic plan for growth, we believe that one of the core challenges with growing the business and also making gas easily acceptable and building people's confidence in gas is bridging the fear of gas factor. A lot of people associate gas with being dangerous. So the objective of this marketing and safety campaign is to build more confidence and more acceptance of the product. Furthermore, due to the nature of the product, we feel at Origin Energy that our business actually prides on safety. Everything that we do at Origin is all about safety first. So it's one of our core values, and it's the way that we do our business. And we feel that we are socially responsible as a corporate citizen to also extend this culture out to our consumers and to households in PNG. So what will this campaign look like? The campaign will be targeted primarily for consumers in the domestic segment, with both above the line and below the line campaigns. So this will take the form of marketing such as awareness through TV, print media, radio, billboards, posters, flyers, including merchandising, and also we're going to be embarking on a lot of community and school roadshows as well. The safety campaign will start in Port Moresby and then will extend to Lae, including other major centres in PNG, so that we reach a wide customer base. And all of this will be driven at the dealer sites, working with the dealers as our partners at the front end of our business. And we'll also be working closely also with appliance retailers such as RH, which are represented here today, Quartz, Brian Bills. Anyone who sells gas appliances will be working closely with them to be able to reach out with our safety awareness campaigns. So as you see, the dealers are an important part of this campaign as well. The campaign will cover various safety campaigns, from safe cooking to safe maintenance, installation, and safe installation of gas installations within the household. So it will cover product knowledge to build a bit more awareness on the product and its various uses as a preferred energy source. We are educating people about how to use gas safely and what safety with gas looks like. So today's media and trade launch will launch the first 8 blocks of awareness messages, which includes the following. Why cook with gas? Why should you choose to cook with gas in comparison to energy source? This is actually under our brand Life Made Easier. Safety tips on how you can keep your gas installation safe. Again, connecting your gas safely. Tips on efficient burning. How do you know that your gas appliance is burning efficiently? Or how do you know if you efficiently using the energy or whether you're wasting energy? So those are some tips there. Safe storage, how to ensure that your gas bomb or your gas installation is actually kept safe. Transporting your day's gas safely, how to safely handle your cylinder from a dealer site and then transport it home safely. How to lift your cylinder safely as well is another important safety factor. cleaning your gas stove, how to clean your gas stove. Featured in the picture there is actually one of our own employees who's here at the back. He's actually our model for Origin Energy, so we use him in a lot of our marketing campaigns and advertising. So those are the first 8 blogs that we're actually launching today, and this is just the first of the many awareness campaigns that we will be running throughout the next 12 months and for the next few years. In embedding this awareness, our marketing team have innovatively designed the Uncle Gasman concept, which is our mascot for promoting LP gas safety awareness. And this aims at consumers building the acceptance and the awareness of the use of gas. So today, we want you to be able to invite Uncle Gasman here on my right as part of the household. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today the introduction of our new uncle, Uncle Gasman. Uncle Gasman, our new tagline, as you can see with our branding in front here, is life made easier using gas. Again, this is part of our tagline to be able to reach out to more and more households in PNG because we believe that our product, there is a need out there for LP gas and that we can make people's life easier using LP gas.
Once again, thank you viewers. Uncle Gasman and the team at Origin will be visiting all outlets and Origin authorized dealer sites to promote safety at home. You can also pick up pamphlets and information on any of the safety messages in all Origin authorized dealer sites. For more information, you can contact Origin on 323-4033. Thank you once again, viewers, for your time, and be sure to join the next episode of Origin Guest Talk on why you should cook with gas in your homes. Good evening.
Coming up next, another of our best dogs for 2013.
The Charles Campbell Toxinology Centre is a set-up collaboration between the University of PNG, University of Melbourne and the Global Snakebite Initiative. They also work with other collaborators from major institutions in the UK, Spain and Costa Rica. A big part of the work the Charles Campbell Toxinology Centre is working towards is understanding the effects of PNG snake venoms and how they impact snakebite victims, as well as conducting research to improve antivenoms and better access availability to antivenoms.
My name's David Williams. I'm the Clinical Trial Coordinator and the Director of the Charles Campbell Toxinology Centre. Charles Campbell was an Australian doctor who worked in Port Moresby General Hospital from 1956 till 1965, who had an enormous interest in snakebite. Was quite famous for being seen walking across the highway with his dressing gown and slippers on to come and see snakebite patients late at night. So when we were looking for a name for our research centre, it was decided that it should be named in his honour, given that he was the first person to really conduct snakebite research in Papua New Guinea. We purchased a Toyota Land Cruiser about 12 months ago. Over the last year it's been converted into an intensive care ambulance. So basically the aim is to be able to reach out to very sick snakebite patients, people who are having airway and breathing problems, who would otherwise probably die before they get to Port Moresby. In the past, there's not been a service like that possible. The ambulance services that currently exist don't have the equipment or the personnel to be able to manage these people properly. Whereas what we can do is we can go out with basically all the equipment that you'd find normally in an intensive care unit with a doctor, a nurse. We can treat the patient at a health centre, stabilise them, and then we can safely transport them back here where they can be admitted to the intensive care unit for ongoing treatment. The way our service works is that we don't go out and pick up patients from villages or homes or from the suburbs. Because the reality is that probably more than 60% of snake bites are non-venomous anyway. And it's really important that people go to their local health service first, whether it's an aid post or a health centre or Gerahu Hospital, and they can be evaluated there, and they'll make a decision on whether or not they need our assistance. So if that assistance is needed, then the health centres in Central Province or the health centres here within the NCD can contact us, and we will go and pick up the patient and do whatever's necessary to get them back here alive. At the moment, most of the patients that we've been bringing back have been coming from Agivaru Health Centre in Hiri. Roughly we can retrieve patients from within 120 kilometres of Port Moresby in either direction. That's probably about the practical limit of it. But if we have patients from, say, further down the south coast or further up into Gulf Province, for example, the hospital in Vafa, usually what they do is they bring the patients halfway in their ambulance and they meet us on the side of the road, and we pick them up and then bring them back. So that's been useful, and that would certainly be the sort of thing that we could do with patients from down in, say, Kupiano or Moraguina. If they're able to get ambulance transport from St John in Kupiano and meet us somewhere along the Maggie Highway, then we're able to help them with that as well. The reality is that the supply of antivenom to health centres at the moment is rather problematic. A number of the health centres that we help have got no antivenom supplies at all, or they get very small quantities of it, which they use far quicker than than they can get new products supplied back in again, simply because they treat so many snake bites. But the problem is the current Australian antivenoms are very expensive, and the health department can only afford so much. The main thing that we do here at Port Moresby General Hospital, we have this snakebite clinic that operates here in the emergency department. So when people come to the emergency department now, they get dedicated snakebite management. The doctors that are working with us have got a lot of exposure to snakebite and are very good at being able to manage it and make the right treatment decisions. But as part of that, we're also undertaking a clinical trial of a new antivenom that we've developed, the Charles Campbell Toxinology Centre, in conjunction with our partners at the University of Melbourne, the University of Papua New Guinea and the University of Costa Rica. And that antivenom is significantly less expensive than the current Australian ones. We're talking about probably 300 kina compared to nearly 5,000 kina for the current one. So there's a big difference in the price. And at the moment, the two products are being clinically trialled, tested against each other to confirm that they're both equally effective and equally safe to use. And if that's the case, then we're hoping eventually the new product will replace the current one, and it will mean that those sorts of antivenom shortages that health centres have now will cease to exist. The sort of retrieval work we do, I guess, is different to what a lot of people expect. It's not about getting out there and picking up a person and bringing them back as fast as you possibly can. In fact, often we will come back very slowly with patients. Once a person has been immobilised and put on a ventilator, we need to be very careful that they don't get bumped and jostled around too much, so we have to drive fairly slowly. And unfortunately, the condition of the roads makes it very difficult to do that successfully. You know, we literally have to go over some of the huge potholes and craters at less than walking speed in order to make sure that our patients aren't, jostled around too much. This has been a really funny year. We've had more snake bites through winter this year than ever before. We've seen over 140 cases of snake bite at this hospital between April and August, and normally you'd expect that you might only see 20 or 30. And it hasn't really slowed down. We're still seeing lots of cases. Just in the last week, I think we've had 7 or 8 cases, including 2 retrievals. So maybe it's because there are, people are making more of an effort to get to hospital. And certainly we would tell people that what they should be doing if they're bitten by snakes is not staying in the village, not relying on traditional first aid. It will certainly work for the 60% or so of cases where the snake wasn't venomous. In fact, anything will work. But for bites by Papuan taipans or death adders or other venomous snakes, the only thing that's going to save people's lives is if they get to a health centre as soon as possible. One issue we do have is that the medical retrieval work we do it for free. People don't pay a cent for it. But it does cost us money to run the service. It's not so much the costs of the drugs and the medicines and things like that, but even a retrieval 60, 70 kilometres out of town, we go through 100 kina worth of fuel. And we're looking for people who are willing to sponsor some of the assistance that we want to be able to give to health centres. So to supply a health centre with the equipment that they need to manage a patient's airway costs around about 1,000 kina. And it's the sort of thing that village communities could easily do to support their local health centres, would be to raise money that can then be directed through our centre to purchase the right equipment that's needed to go into their local health centres and aid posts, so that if they do get bitten by a snake and they need airway and breathing support, at least the basic equipment that's necessary can be made available, and we can make sure that the health workers have had the basic training necessary to be able to use that equipment properly.
To assist with the work of the Charles Campbell Toxinology Centre, a large collection of highly venomous PNG snakes, including Papuan taipans, death adders, Papuan black snakes, New Guinea small-eyed snakes and so on, are kept for the collection and testing of venoms. The venoms of these snakes is quite fatal and can cause bleeding, paralysis leading to death if the snakebite victim is not attended to immediately. As mentioned by David Williams, snakebite victims in rural areas must be taken to the nearest health clinic in their area. However, the snakebite victim would need to be transported in a way to prevent the toxin from taking effect.
Okay, so when someone is bitten by a snake, or when you're bitten by a snake, the first things to do is to move away from the snake. Don't try to catch the snake, and come to a place where it's safe. And you start by putting on what we call the first aid for snake bite, pressure immobilization bandaging. And that involves use of a stretchy bandage, such as I'm holding, and applied over a wide area over the limb, whether it's the arm or the leg. Ben has just been bitten by a snake. We don't know what snake. It was a black colored snake. We moved him away from the snake. And let's just say it doesn't matter where on the leg or the arm, it doesn't matter where on the leg you're bitten, you always start bandaging from just below the toes. So I'm stretching the bandage as far as I can go and overlapping by 2 centimeters or so. So let's just say he was bitten here. If he's wearing long trousers, we bandage over the trousers. Okay? We don't apply, don't cut, or do anything to the bite site. Okay? You stretch as far as you can go, and the whole aim is to keep the toxin, the poison, from not traveling up to the heart. Keep it there. So as I said before, it doesn't matter where on the leg someone is bitten. You bandage from just below the toes all the way up to the hip. Okay? And then we just find any piece of wood or stick that's straight enough. Say like this. Break it off. You can use pieces of wood. You can either place it on the outside or on the inside. And then this one doesn't have to be as tight. It's just there to hold the leg in place so that the patient or the victim doesn't bend his knees or does not move. It's to prevent him from moving his leg. So I can go all the way around. You can do that. So that's how we apply a pressure immobilization bandage. There's pressure applied to the area, the venom is kept there, the poison is kept there. The patient cannot move his legs because when you move your body, the poison travels faster. So, and the reason why we say to leave the feet clear is so that the doctors or medical workers can check whether there's blood flowing, because we don't want to cut off the blood flow, we just want to stop the poison from traveling up.
With the work of the CCTC and the snakebite rescue operation, snakebite fatality should be expected to drop in a big way.
More on CCTC later on in the show. After the break, it's the Brian Bell segment.
Hey, hey, Mr. B.
Good evening and welcome to another Brian Bell segment on House and Home. I'm your host for the evening, Bill Neal. We travel a lot. When I say travel, I don't just mean when you jump on a plane and go home for Christmas. I mean getting from point A to point B. To assist us in traveling, Brian Bell have a wide range of suitcases, bags and accessories that will make traveling easy. Suitcases. What should you look for when buying one? What features do you really need? What should you consider when you are making these decisions? In the good old days, gentlemen would have a convoy of steamer trunks in tow, housing all manner of wardrobe, knickknacks, clothing and what have yous. These days, a guy's lucky if his rolling carry-on isn't checked in at the gate. It comes to pass that suitcases must be many things in one: space efficient, sturdy, easy to manage and long-lasting. Thankfully, weary traveler, technology is on your side. Suitcases nowadays are new and improved and make life for the traveler easier. Whilst looking at our different options, keep these next few points in mind as they will influence your decision making. Think of how you travel. How often are you traveling? Is it for work or for holidays? What mode of transport do you use most frequently? Is it a plane or a vehicle? Are you walking? If you're always catching planes for work, you will need one of our smaller suitcases. If you're constantly reaching for documents on your travels, you will need an outside zip, pockets/compartments for easy access. Do you need pockets inside the bag to secure important documents? Consider the physical makeup of the luggage. Will it have to be watertight, hard shell to protect something inside, or foldable down to a small flat size for transport or placement in another bag or box for shipping? Look at the different features the bags and suitcases have. The placement of exterior openings like zippers, flaps, attachment loops, pockets, wheels, and types of handles, etc., etc. Think about each feature from the standpoint of how you are to travel. Mentally pack for a normal trip given the ideal features you would have. This allows you to realize which features you really need. Do you cram everything in? Do you come back from your trip with more things than when you left? If you pack light and never have to jump on your bag to pull the zip, then maybe a hardcover suitcase is the one for you. Since wheels are often the first things to break, even on high quality bags, I recommend you look for sturdy wheels that can be easily switched out if broken. The options we have at Brian Bell have sturdy wheels that can be easily replaced if need be, as well as these other features that make them attractive. They have locks on top of the bags for extra security, handles that extend out to allow for rolling luggage, an option handle for lifting, front pocket for easy access. This is an important thing to consider when traveling. The added zip here may seem like it is there for decoration. It actually allows you to stuff more into your bag by allowing it to grow in size. Spacious bag with compartments inside. Frequent travelers should spend a little bit more money on a higher quality bag that lasts a lot longer. In the long run, they will spend less than they would have to replace cheaper bags over and over again. If these regular size suitcases are too big, we have smaller size suitcases. Learn to pack and travel light. The reason most people have oversized luggage is because they take too much with them. The less you take, the easier the luggage will be to handle. Not to mention, if you lose your bag, you won't lose all your clothes. Touch wood. Coleman bring us a hybrid option that combines the best features of carry bags and suitcases together to give you the Boston rolling bag. Here it is. Durable stand at the bottom for when you use the rolling feature. Plenty of space in the bag. Spacious with plenty of compartments. The Boston rolling bag comes in a range of sizes. Hard suitcases. There are some things to keep in mind about hard shells. First and the most obvious is that they don't collapse or mold to spaces like their soft-sided cousins. And on a related note, it's tough to stuff them as full as a duffel bag. The hard shell is designed not to budge at all. Hard shells do tend to show wear and tear more easily than ballistic nylon or polyester. Scratches and dents are more apparent on their smooth finishes, but there are many areas in which hard shell excels over limp luggage. A hard shell protects your belongings better. It's naturally more water resistant than a cloth bag or a polyester bag. Composite materials often make for much lighter, dry weight, so you're more likely to avoid heavy baggage fees. Indeed, the size, weight and strength of these cases make them ideal for checked luggage. They provide inherent protection against the luggage handler's careless throw. Shiny, colourful, new hard-sided bags seem to be all the rage at airports and hotel lobbies these days. However, most do not have external pockets, which I think are critical. You see, features of these bags will suit you more than others. I hope I've given you some food for thought. If you're not travelling far on your trip from point A to point B, we have plenty of Coleman, Austrail and other branded backpacks that provide options in small, medium to large ranges. The most important accessory in my opinion is the luggage lock. To keep your belongings safe, Master Locks have a variety of designs, colours and sizes of locks. 22mm padlocks all the way to 30mm combination locks. Brian Bell has the bag, suitcase or Boston rolling bag for your A to B trips. My last few tips are: think twice before you buy a black bag. A thief will never steal a yellow or red bag at the airport. He'd be too easy to catch. If you have a black bag, get a colourful luggage tag. This will also make it easier to spot your bag when you're waiting those few anxious minutes before collecting your bag. Make sure if you buy bags with wheels that the handle is high enough to grasp comfortably without having to bend over all the time and pull it. And lastly, for the air traveller, you want something very sturdy from the handle to the wheels so that you can sit on it and use it as a seat when waiting in the long lines at the airports, customs and other stops you're forced to endure. Great products, great prices. That is Brian Bell. The show is in the bag for this week. See you next time. Good night.
Best price, best quality, guaranteed at Brian Bell.
Right on, Mr. B.
More on Charles Campbell Toxinology Centre in a moment. Welcome back. Earlier on, we had David Williams talk on the snakebite rescue operation and the work of the Charles Campbell Toxinology Centre. We now continue with part 2 of our CCTC feature story of 2013.
My name is Owen Paiva and I'm the lab manager at the Charles Campbell Toxinology Centre. I'm also a medical scientist there as well. So the Papua taipan, the most distinguishing feature is a dark black snake, greyish black snake with a reddish stripe on the back. And most often now victims bitten by Papua taipan actually describe seeing a long black snake longer than a meter and it had a reddish rust-colored, brown-colored stripe on the back. They can easily be mistaken for Papuan black because they are also black and dark colored in the wild. Most of the time people don't see, can't really tell. They just see the black tail moving off and they say, oh, it was a black snake. And because of historical, being told by your parents and if you go into the grass and watch out for the Papuan black, it's the most dangerous snake in PNG. And that's been drummed into our heads over time. So, everybody knows it's a Papuan black. But in actual fact, the most implicating species is the Papuan taipan, especially in the southern region. Let's put it this way, we haven't had a positive identification of a Papuan black snake bite victim since 20 years ago. And the last ones were probably in the 1980s. And the hypothesis is that during that time, there was the introduction of the cane toad from Queensland to combat mosquitoes here and malaria in PNG. And because the Papuan black, its normal diet is frogs and rodents. When the toads were introduced, they couldn't tell the difference between, it's hypothesized they couldn't tell the difference between toads and frogs. So when they started feeding on toads, which have their own toxin on the back of their necks, they have glands that secrete white buffotoxin. That was killing of, we think that was killing of the Papuan black. But apart from that, I think the major strongest hypothesis is that there was habitat destruction, because that place along where the Boroko food well is right now was actually a picnic spot in the 70s, and it had rain trees and the works, very nice spot to go and have a picnic. But that was also a place where it was just highly populated by Papuan black snakes. And since then, it's been turned into a drain, and that river's gone, and so the habitat has been destroyed. We still have Papuan blacks that exist, but only in very sparsely populated areas, pocket areas, I should say. So one place is up at the Papa Swamp, Leale area. That's where we're getting to see a lot of Papuan blacks, and only on one particular creek too, a lot of them. They're very shy snakes, so it's really hard to catch them or even meet them. It's mostly by accident that people come across them. And even if they do see them, the snake runs away really fast. When we are measuring or trying to compare the lethality or how toxic or dangerous these snakes are, the taipan has 0.04 milligrams of toxin per kilogram mouse. That's enough to what we call the LD50 dose, the lethal dose 50. Trying to put that in layman's terms, that's like, so if there was a 70 kilogram man, you would need 0.28 milligrams to kill that person. The taipan produces in excess of up to 120 milligrams.
Okay,
so that's enough to kill you over 20 times, 100 times. So one bite can kill you. And these snakes, they're easily provoked, and they tend to bite more than once, multiple bites, and each time delivering accumulating dose of toxin. New Guinea small-eyed snakes are found, we believe they're found all throughout the mainland of New Guinea. Mostly found a lot on Karka Island as well, and in the Momase region. You'll find them a lot there. They hide among leaf litter. They're a nocturnal snake, so they only come out at night. They're a white snake, and the New Guinea small-eyed snake is the only true Papua New Guinean snake because it is only found in PNG. Okay. And these snakes cause kidney failure. They cause also muscle damage and paralysis as well as bleeding. And so what you see behind me is in the cages here, the Papuan taipans, and they cause about 90 to 90% of admission and death at Port Moresby General Hospital. So here we have a Papuan taipan. You can see the grayish color on the side, black grayish with that reddish tinge on the top. And that's what most people will describe when they're bitten or they see this snake in the wild. They see this fast-moving, long, black, gray, brownish snake underneath, creamy colored underneath, with a reddish tinge on the top. It can lay up to 2 clutches of 22 eggs a year. So one taipan snake can lay up to 40 snakes, which have venom right from the time that they hatch. On average, they grow about 1.5 meters to 2 meters. The longest we've had here was a 3-meter snake from Moriguina. But we caught that one in 2005 under in the works yard at Moriguina station. And they have a lot of taipans there because we went up there recently and we just had popped in the afternoon to say hi to the people who were there. And there was a family cooking, the evening meal just on the side, and just 5 meters away, we lifted the tin and whatever rusting metal from on the side of the house, and we caught a taipan there. And they had no idea, and they would have been a victim because there were a lot of small kids around the area too as well playing. We actually go out during certain times of the year to catch the snakes. With the taipans, we know that they exist in the savanna grassland, so when we're looking for taipans, that's where we go, and that's where we want people to. When you have gardens where there's savanna, grassland areas, kunai areas, just watch out for this snake because it lives there. Whereas toward the foresty areas is where we find death adders, okay, and the mountain areas as well as the small-eyed snakes. Well, you get them out especially when it's rainy, because they look for a place to dry themselves and sun, because they are all reptiles. Reptiles' normal behavior is they're all cold-blooded, and for them to function, they need the heat of the sun, so they all come out just like crocodiles, turtles, snakes will do the same, lizards. They all come out in the early morning when it's quiet, but when the sun is coming up to get the first ray of sun, so that when their blood warms up, they are physiologically active to look for food. With the taipans, they move around early morning up until about 12. They move around in the day in the shade, and then they'll come out again for, looking for food, foraging around late afternoon. But they sleep at night. So here we have a Papuan black snake that was caught at Varirata National Park. When we first brought it in, it was about 30 centimeters or so. It is now almost a meter and a half. So snakes don't have external ear openings. The way they hear is by sound vibration. And so they feel with their body and they can interpret that as sound. So this is a small-eyed snake from Oro. You can see they're more darker. The Medang ones are more whiter. These death adders only have neurotoxins, which means they only cause paralysis. They stay still. They're ambush hunters, so they sit still. And you'll see Pet Kamsi, just above their eyes, they have this scale that's raised, and it makes him look like horns.
Ah, okay.
And that's because when leaves fall, they sit on the trees or bottom of banana tree, and when leaves fall on them, the leaves fall on those horns, and they still have full view, but you can't see them. And they use camouflage. So they grow not more than 30 to 50 centimeters. Okay. In the highlands region, they're a lot bigger, but in the coastal areas around New Guinea, they're not bigger than 30 centimeters. This is an adult, by the way. So this one, there's another snake that looks exactly like this, but doesn't have venom, and it's the ground boar. They look almost the same. So this is Papuan taipan from Padi Padi Estate in Milne Bay Province. It's one of those snakes we caught within, out of 20 snakes we caught in a three-hour period, just looking for snakes one early morning. And as you can see, they can grow quite big. This is almost at least a 2-meter one. They've got that coffin-shaped head. That's kind of distinctive. Comparing the Papuan black, just at the top here is more short, have a shorter head. And this is cream colored underneath. The black snake is gun black all over, gunmetal black. So this,
he's angry.
He's curious, and they smell with their tongue, so that's why they have that forked tongue all the time. So when we're catching these snakes, we have to see them before they see us. Practical advice to people in the village or in the rural areas is to buy a couple of cheap gumboots if they can afford to, because that saves life. So we milk these snakes every 4 or 3 months, just to collect the venom to do venom research work on. From different geographical locations, you can have different amounts of a different toxin being produced for whatever reason. But applying herbal and traditional medicine, there is no proof that they work. Even there's a particular black stone that is used quite frequently, especially in the mission areas, and that was introduced by missionaries. But it's actually the bone marrow from cow that's been blackened, and it's quite porous, so it soaks up any liquid, so it acts as and seems to stick to the bite site, and they think that it sucks up the poison, but actually it doesn't. It has no effect at all. So don't use blackstone, don't use other traditional herbs or medicines because you don't know what they might do as well. None of them are effective. Don't cut, don't suck on the bite site, don't apply hot water or cold water or anything of the sort. We've had instances of people actually electrocuting somebody at the bite site, and that's not encouraged at all. That does more harm. The only one and true first aid for snake bite is the pressure immobilization bandaging.
Recently, the team of CCTC have been inundated with more than a dozen snakebite cases almost on a daily basis since the start of the new year. Now, January through to March is normally high season for snakebites in the Central Province. Therefore, all Port Moresby residents and surrounding rural districts as far as Kerema and Amazon Bay are urged to take extra precautions when in the bushes and gardens. We'll be back with more on House and Home in a moment, so stay watching. Welcome back. Yes, it's a new year and time for new beginnings. Now, how many of you out there have included getting fit and healthy on your list as your New Year's resolution? I know there's got to be quite a few of you. Next week on House and Home, Dr. Ambi talks more on keeping a healthy mind throughout the new year. BSB are back with their monthly update. Bill Neal has more fantastic great quality buys available at Brian Bell. And we continue with our Best Ops feature stories for 2013 with our features on the craft market at the Holiday Inn. Until next week, from the House and Home crew and myself, it's good night.